give us a few tidbits, and at this segment, you can ask any questions to Yvette that you may have. So Yvette, the floor is yours.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I had to go ahead and show my video. I am doing a couple of things around the house, so do excuse me and grandkids and children. But today, let's talk about credit and the benefit of having good credit. Um, I have been in the credit industry and a licensed loan officer, actually. I was a licensed loan officer back in 2000 when the industry crashed, and I decided to come become a full-time mom and take care of my sons because they needed me a little bit more than the industry did, because you know it's a little bit time consuming. But as far as credit, it's always been a passion of mine. The real estate industry itself, I have a passion and a love for it. So I'm sorry, I have to let somebody else in here. But as far as credit, credit is very important. And as far as making sure your credit is right, I always suggest for my clients that you don't need all those credit cards. You don't need all all that debt and all those loans. It's best to have, especially when you're looking to get into a mortgage, it's best maybe two credit cards and then maybe a loan or something like that. Because, you know, we always want to get out there. Our credit is looking great. And we always want to jump out there and get the nice cars and the new cars. I always suggest you wait until after you get into home ownership. And if you are getting into home ownership and you're looking to build your credit, get something like a Home Depot credit card or something like that that'll help towards what you're looking to do as far as getting into a home. So I always suggest that as far as for me, I do offer consultations for those that are not familiar with what their credit is looking like right now, because you can never be too unsure about what's on your credit. So it's always good to take a look at it before you try to jump into the water and get into home ownership. Um, like Satyra was saying, as far as the minimum credit score is 620, 580 to get into a home, it's very easy and very attainable to do. Sometimes we only need to just add credit. Sometimes we don't need to do any type of debt elimination because we may not have debt. We may just need to do something to get our credit established. So with all those things, I help. Even like I said, I'll pull your credit. We'll take a look and see what needs to be done. And if you only need to add to your credit, I have different suggestions as far as credit cards and things to do to better your credit without building up debt, because home ownership is the ultimate goal. So again, you don't want to have that too much debt when you're getting into a new home. You want to make sure that you have some assets and some things that's needed when a lot of programs like the TRIO program, that's an awesome program, but still you're dealing with newer homes, but you still want to be prepared. So in building your credit, you want to have like a Home Depot or a credit card like that'll help you as you're moving forth into home ownership. But other than that, I'm here. Like I said, I've had plenty of years in the industry, and that is what I do. I help with credit.
Awesome. All right, Yvette. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. You did say that, you know, I was going to ask you if there was a certain amount of trade lines that somebody would need in order to establish credit. And you did mention 2 credit cards and a loan. So that's a good benchmark. But I'm wondering, is there a benchmark for how much those credit card balances should be? Like, what if you can only get a Home Depot card for $200? Does that count? Or does it have to be $2,000? Like, does the balance?
Well, I mean, I think, to be honest, all of it counts, because what creditors look at and what you're looking at as you're building your credit is the time frame and your time and your commitment to make sure you're making those payments on time. So also another thing that I always suggest for people to do a piggyback. If you have like I had a client who thought her credit was pretty bad, but all this time she didn't realize that she was piggybacking on her husband's credit. So the only thing that we had to do was just add trade lines. And so she was good to go because she was already at an 800, but now she just had to show that she can pay her own bills. And so that's the same thing as far as when you're new and establishing credit, you just have to show that you are able to pay bills. There's also different programs where credit rebuilder programs through different banks where you don't necessarily, and those are the ones that are similar to the loans. So with those, you're paying into a loan, And then at the course of maybe 24 months, you get the money back, but in the process, you're building your credit up with interest. So that's a good option also, because at that point, you're not building up too much debt in order to get yourself to the place that you're trying to get as far as home ownership and building your credit.
Is that the same as a secured credit card?
Well, that's a little different because with secured credit cards, you're not necessarily dealing with a bank. Because there's also like, well, I know myself, I am also from the Midwest, also from Illinois, as you are, that there was a bank called Midwest Bank, and they've been around for so long. And a lot of different banks are adapting the same program, whereas you come in and you basically, think as a credit builders, they've named it a different couple of different things now, but you basically take this out. It may be for $1,000, it may be for 2,500, but you're paying into that, and then it's building your credit. So, but the difference with the credit card is basically it's basically a credit card. You're not necessarily dealing with a bank. Whatever interest rate they're giving you, that's what you have. And most credit cards, the interest rate is going to be pretty high.
Okay. And Yvette, I have one last question for you. And just for our viewers, the chat box is open. If you do have questions, please put it in the chat box, or you can take yourself off mute and we'll be happy to address your question. But my last question is, you said you offer free consultations, and I'm just wondering, is there a fee associated with the credit pool? Because you
No.
the credit pool.
No, there is no fee associated with the credit pool at all. So basically, we'll get your credit pulled, and then we'll take a look at it, and then I'll let you know as far as what needs to be done, whether you need to remove some things or whether you need to add some things, or it's a whole overhaul. So sometimes you have those situations where, I always tell people, when you're going to look for cars, you have to really be careful, because you'll end up with these 30 inquiries on your credit. That's ridiculous. I don't even know why these dealerships do that to people. That's ridiculous. So.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. So thank you so much for answering those questions. I don't see anything in the chat box. I don't hear anyone trying to squeeze in a question. So here is Yvette R. Moore's contact information on your screen. Please feel free to make a screenshot. Yvette, are there any other ways to connect with you? Are you on social media or anything like that?
Yes, we do have a page, Miss Yvette's Financial. Look. let me pull it up, because I do have an email address also. I can be emailed at missyvettermore@gmail.com. That's the best email address to get me. But I'm also on Facebook, Yvette Moore. That's who I am on Facebook. But I do have a group. It's a financial group where I actually share just different tips and things like that in the financial industry, whether it's something pertaining to real estate, different events such as Satyra's event that we have here, and little different things that help you as far as rebuilding your credit, especially like it's other options like real estate. But it is Miss Yvette Credit and Financial Services. So that is the page and the actual group that I have. So you can always tap in there, ask any questions or anything. I'm always available answering. It would be like 24 hours. I'm like trying to help somebody answer their credit questions, but I'm available.
Awesome. All right. Well, Yvette, thank you again for sharing your expertise with us.